Today, I'm going to tell you something that probably no one has ever explained to you. And I promise you something. By the time this video is over, you'll understand that what I'm about to tell you is something very few people ever say. Guilt is not a noble feeling. It's not empathy. It's not love. It's a trap. And when you understand what it's really for, I promise you, a weight you've been carrying for years will be lifted from your shoulders. Because guilt makes no sense at all. It doesn't solve anything, it paralyzes you, it makes you feel bad, and most of the time, it's not even yours to carry. Stick with me because if you understand this, it will change your entire mindset and it will change the way you relate to yourself and to others. Let's take a look. What happens when you feel guilty? You feel a weight in your chest. You feel like you're a bad person, that you did something terrible, that you're responsible for all the problems in the world. But wait, have you ever stopped to ask yourself if that feeling even makes sense or if it was simply instilled in you? Because guilt doesn't solve anything, it doesn't change a thing. Guilt doesn't take you back to the past, it doesn't make you a better person, it doesn't fix things, it doesn't offer support, and it doesn't build anything. Guilt is heavy. It makes you bitter, anxious, and paralyzed. It makes you live someone else's life, not your own. But life is short, and you can't live it based on what other people want, feel, or expect. So why carry something that only weighs you down? Often we feel guilty because we think we've hurt someone, but in reality, all we did was make a decision that the other person didn't like. Have you ever felt like guilt is chasing you? Even when you haven't done anything wrong, that weight in your chest that won't let you sleep, that makes you feel like a bad person, even though deep down you know you're just trying to live your own life. Because the question is, what is guilt? Not what we think it is, not what we were taught, not that childish story of you did something bad. We're talking about that dark place where you convince yourself that you are the reason for someone else's pain. And when you feel guilty, what happens inside of you? You feel heavier, you feel like you failed, you feel like you've hurt someone without meaning to. You feel that somehow you're responsible for all the problems in the world. Guilt feels like an internal punishment, even when you've done everything right. And that makes no sense. It's just a useless weight. And this is where the first conflict arises. If it doesn't fix anything, if it doesn't help, if it doesn't provide a solution, why do we carry it? Because we often confuse someone else's pain with our own responsibility. For example, if you want to end a relationship, but the other person wants to stay, why should you feel guilty? The other person isn't hurting because of you or because it's your fault. They're hurting because what they want doesn't align with what you want. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because the relationship they want no longer exists. That pain is real, yes, but it's theirs. It has nothing to do with you. It's not your fault. We grow up believing that if the other person suffers, I did something wrong. But that automatic link between the other person's pain and your guilt is a deception. You're not responsible for maintaining relationships that are no longer good for you. You're not responsible for someone else being unable to manage their frustration. You're not responsible for the expectations the other person built up in their head. You promised something and couldn't keep a promise. Your mom got sad because you didn't go visit her. And that's when guilt appears, like a slap in the face. It's your fault she's sad. But that's not the truth. Your mom is sad because something didn't turn out the way she expected. The frustration she feels is hers, not yours. And the key question you have to ask yourself is, do you really think you should feel guilty for something you couldn't avoid? Let's break things down. One thing is responsibility. I did something wrong, I acknowledge it, I make amends if I can, and I apologize. And something very different is guilt. I punish myself even after I've resolved it, or even when I didn't do anything wrong in the first place. They're completely different worlds. And here comes the murkiest part, the thing almost no one dares to say. There are people who use your guilt against you, who manipulate, who need you to be weakened to sustain their own emptiness. People who tell you, I can't live without you. It's your fault I'm miserable. If you leave me, you'll destroy me. And you, without realizing it, get trapped. Not by love, not by responsibility, but by guilt. Guilt is the perfect prison. It has no bars, but it locks you in just the same. When you finally understand that everyone has to manage what they feel, something inside you is going to click. You can't control the other person's feelings. It's hard enough to manage your own. You can't take on someone else's pain. You can only deal with your own. And you can't stay where you no longer want to be just to avoid hurting someone. That's not love, it's self abandonment. Think about it for a second. How many times have you stayed in a place you didn't want to be just to avoid feeling guilty? How many times have you kept quiet about what you wanted to say? How many times have you maintained relationships that hurt you just for fear of being seen as the bad guy? Guilt cuts off your freedom. It takes away your life. It makes you choose from a place of fear, not from truth or freedom. That's why today I want to tell you something that maybe no one has ever told you this directly. Guilt is useless. It doesn't fix, it doesn't heal, it doesn't connect, it doesn't free you. Guilt makes you bitter, it paralyzes you, it steals years of your life, and worst of all, it distances you from yourself. The only thing that works is taking responsibility, making amends if you can, apologizing when it's appropriate, and moving forward with dignity and honesty. But punishing yourself, condemning yourself, or letting someone else manipulate you, that is not your responsibility. So the next time someone wants you to carry a guilt that isn't yours, remember this. Guilt doesn't make you a better person. It only makes you a prisoner, and you are here to live your life, not to live the life that others want you to live. I hope you like my videos and that they can help you, perhaps by showing you things from a different perspective or simply making you feel accompanied and understood, maybe just to feel seen. If so, don't forget to give them a like and subscribe so you don't miss the next videos. And if there's any topic you'd like us to cover in future videos, write it in the comments. Thanks for listening.